notified
This meeting is being recorded.
by Kiran about this. We will be getting the project ideas from Wednesday, is what I have been updated. After which what we will be basically doing is that based on the projects, the ideas that we get, we can do very small, simple implementations of it, and then you folks can then take on like a bigger implementation of building that thing out, right? So this is more or less what we're focusing on. Uh, and I'll just basically share one documentation piece. Before that, would love to know from you folks on the doubts part, like anything that you are basically working on that you want to get answered. Also addressing, I think Kranti had messaged me. Is Kranti on the call? One second, let me just pull up the docs. Yeah. Hi, Kranti. I have not received any reply from the team yet. I had sent them the message that day itself when you like mentioned. I just copy pasted and no, I think I sent them a screenshot. I haven't received a reply on it yet. I will bump it up. I had asked them for another question also prior to that, so they said that they first have to answer that and then they will get back to me. So yeah, that's the update I have on this. It's a bit slow to yeah in terms of error resolution. Sorry about that, but yeah, that's the update. Let me just get the. Mm, so yeah, this as I said, like this will be mostly like a doubt solving session. So you folks can ask if there's anything. Uh, what kind of? One second. Let me just check the chat. Struck house if you have something similar to marketing solidity. Okay, so in terms of what kind of variables should be in resources, what kind can be in a simple struct. Think of resources from an angle of any sort of asset class that we are talking about. So these are things that cannot be duplicated or dropped, right? So think of it purely from whatever assets can there be. For example, if you see in our last to-do list example, so I let me pull that up. Uh, One second. Mm-hmm. It's time to tap. Also see some more questions about balance of the wallet. Okay, and design is basically just the library. I'll just come to all of these questions one by one. First of all, let me show you this smart contract that we have created for this, right? Uh, yeah, okay. So just to answer your question, Alice. So if you see over here, just sharing a screen. Yeah. So if you see over here, we have these to-do list, right? And this one only has the key. Yeah, Kayla, I'm coming to all of these questions one by one. So answering Alice's question first, where she has asked like what kind of variables are we considering for resources as or a simple struct. So if you see this particular example, the interesting thing here is that the to-do list has the only the key, which means that this is basically a resource that cannot be duplicated or dropped, right? But if you look at the tasks that are within the to-do list, these have the drop and the copy abilities attached to it, which implies that we want to associate this as a resource to our like main account, right? So this is the thing, this that will be attached to the module, right? And we are not doing the same for tasks, because this here we are okay with the task not being like a not being like an asset class, right? It can be dropped, it can be copied. It wouldn't make a difference. But when you're talking about a to-do list, that is particularly attached to as an asset to that particular account. In this case, when you're talking about dropping this or copying this, then it's not entirely like a right use case that we are building. For example, if you have something like a fungible token or a non-fungible token, which is attached to that particular account, you should not allow that to be dropped or copied as to, like, to some other person, because when you do that, you will essentially introduce any sort of errors, like any sort of like re-entrancy hacks, any sort of like double spending hacks that can happen, because at that point, what you're saying is that this asset has a particular serial number. But imagine like a currency note. This currency note has a particular serial number, but it can essentially be like copied, um, and that should not be the case, or be attached to some other account. That should not be the case. Or it can be very automatically just removed from the system, or like completely dropped. Like now an asset cannot be like just randomly dropped. It should be burned, or some other mechanism should be there in place, so that you can ensure that the next asset that is being created, maybe it starts from a particular other serial number. So for this, you need to understand how are you thinking about that particular variable. If it's an asset that has these kind of properties, only then you should think about it being a resource. Otherwise, a simple struct should just suffice. For example, in this case, these tasks that come within the to-do list, they are not directly connected with the account. They do not have any as such, like, importance in terms of if we copy or drop or change things there. It doesn't matter. But it would if you're talking about the to-do list. So that's the way that you can reason it out. Okay. One more second. Okay. Possible to go through the create nft.move contact ones. Okay. Ram will take this up. Um, what's and design. And I don't know how to get the balance of wallet connected without using hand design. Maybe let's just go over this entire contact once again. There are DIDs in Aptos. If I want to implement a cross-chain DID or zkDID to Aptos, is it possible? When I quick check to tools on Alchemy, I couldn't find any interoperability tools to implement them. Okay, okay. Okay, I'll just answer the questions first, and then we can do the whole NFT contract thing. That I think might be a better way of structuring this. So there are DIDs and Aptos. There are no like tooling sort of built over it. But Aptos inherently, because of the properties that we just discussed, right? The access control that it already has, it is very like easy for it to kind of being built out. But there is no infrastructure that is already in place that someone has built this out. Let me actually show you um, the access control this thing that is there. Yeah, I think this should. Okay, this is what you should be looking at. Let me share my screen and show you. Uh, yeah. Okay, so here if you see, uh, we have this concept of resource accounts here, Kranti, which essentially can do a lot of the things that we're talking about. Basically, account abstraction is sort of baked into the like chain itself. So, resource account is a developer feature used to manage resources independent of an account managed by a user, specifically publishing modules and automatically signing for transactions. So this is basically what you see in protocols like Biconomy is doing. So like a smart contract wallet that is created, and that smart contract wallet, what it can end up doing is basically you can delegate certain permissions like once to this account that like whatever is there, this is there, like you can manage that by yourself, and it can just run as a smart contract, like the wallet itself does that. So whenever there are certain protocols, you don't need to essentially have your inputs at every point of time. Whenever certain transaction needs to be done, there's like a pop-up, all of those things that does not need to happen, because you are kind of yourself giving that trust, like some sort of permission level to that smart contract to handle things, right? And you're setting up that logic there on what you can handle, to what extent you can handle it. So the resource account is a very similar concept that is being mentioned here, and like a developer may use a resource account to manage an account for model publishing. So as it says, like it gives you means for the model to provide a signer to other modules and sign transactions on behalf of the module. And they have mentioned like how they are using it here. So store and isolate resources, and publish module as a standalone resource account, a building block, blah, blah, blah. But what they are saying here is that ownership can be kept in a different module, and you can have this particular module to just control certain things. And you do not need to, the contract itself does not require a signer post initialization. So like basically you're removing that blocker that every time a metamask will pop up, different actions will happen. And for the DID's use case, right, like you can basically use this resource account thing that is already there. You can create a DID agent on top of this, and you can have it like basically do something along the lines of, you can have a normal account communicate with a resource account. So you can think of this, Kranti, as this particular normal account can spin up a DID, and then can delegate certain permissions to a DID. These are actions that you can build in for your DID. It can have it basically do a couple of like key management stuff as well. Like you can have the DID rotate the key, let's say after every 3 months or something. So basically in Aptos, you can rotate the private key. That means your private key can change at a different point of time. So you can basically delegate all of these, like create the functions to for a normal account to communicate with the resource account and do all of these things. So whenever you are going to a DApp, you can think of like like if this particular function is being spinned, then that DApp connection with that normal account is being broken, and the DID is coming in between. RAM DID is basically like a decentralized identity agent, which is used for key and permission management. So what I was just telling Kranti is along the lines of, whenever we are talking about all of these protocols and how the mass adoption use case will happen, right? So today the process kind of works in the way that um, we have all of these like protocols, and any action that you have to do here, your metamask will pop up and then you will approve. But this is very difficult for an end user to understand. So decentralized identities as a concept basically focuses on actually creating like a, like, because we are talking about wallets and all of these things, but it is not enough in terms of just creating like a decentralized identity. You need to have certain things baked into it, such as account abstraction, account management, key management, permission management, for it to actually make sense as like creating like a complete identity solution that you are who you are, and how you can, like how you can basically also connect the dots with you. Like today, if you are saying that I am Ram and this is my account address, like this is my wallet address, what stops someone else to come in and say that this is Ram and this is my wallet address. So there is no good decentralized identity solution. The closest that people have come to in today's date is basically like ENS, right? Like the .eth thing that comes up. But that is not actually a complete solution that is there in place. So people are building like all of this account abstraction narrative, and all of this is coming from moving towards a decentralized identity space solution, which is actually something that people can use and own. That today this is connected with who you are. It proves that you are not like a bot account. It proves that you are an actual entity, and how you can interact with applications, what kind of permissions you can give that. If you lose your account, how you can revive that account back through social logins, through other metrics as well, other methods as well, and how you can basically delegate permissions to different accounts, so that instead of having the transaction pop up at every point of time, you can have that particular agent take care of it. So yeah, I'm not sure if I was able to completely explain it. Maybe I can show like a very simple architectural diagram. Yeah, I think this is a good one, but mm, let me actually stop sharing and share the screen. Okay. Okay, so here we have given an example. Uh, this is not a blockchain based example. So let me see. What one? So first thing is here, this like the standard elements of what is a DID, which will have its DID, public keys, authentication methods, and then service endpoints. This is basically what I was saying. Like these methods and these service endpoints will be to verify that you are who you are, and then how you can interact with a different protocol. And public keys for consumption for the normal masses. That public keys meaning basically your account addresses in a normal wallet context, and DIDs is for whatever self description, who you are identifying as, to set all of these things. Um, this, yeah, basically any sort of like a credentialing that is possible. Uh, you can basically request and then present that to a particular verifier that you are who you say you are. This is also kind of very closely related to ZK stuff. Um, Contains verification of the ID of users and the DARs of minorities. ZK solves this for. Kranti, I think this can be possible through resource management. I'll just add one more layer because Kranti is talking about DIDs here. So let me actually open this image up a bit and show you how this can relate. So we actually made a project, and I think in a hackathon that was very closely related with what Kranti is mentioning. So imagine this scenario, right? We have a holder, we have an issuer, we have a verifier. So today, your passport is being issued by the government, all of that stuff, right? So you can basically like to a verifier, you need to show that yeah, you are who you are only when they request it, and that is being presented. Now this is a very good use case of a DI, like building a DID solution using ZK. So what we worked on was, when we're talking about ZK, right, we're talking about zero knowledge. What it implies is that without actually showing a particular document, how can you say that yes, whatever is there is true? So imagine that today you are walking into a bar and you want to drink. So what a person will end up, like the bartender will end up doing, is that they will ask you to show your like ID card, Aadhaar, or something. They will ask to know that okay, whether you are above the like drinking age or not, whether you are 21 or over, whatever that would look like for your state, right? But what ends up happening is that when they get access to that information, get also access to your address. They also get access to your complete name. They also get access to your complete date of birth, which is unnecessary information that they do not need to know. So how do we use zk to leverage this? So what we did for our solution was that we built a zk proof, like a circuit. What it does was that it just used to take the Aadhaar card. It used to check for like two things, like if your nationality and your age is above certain limits or not. And it will generate a proof. So what it was doing was it was doing OCR over your identity documentation. So OCR is optical character recognition, meaning that just reading what is there in that particular image. So it was getting that, and then it was parsing the date of birth, it was parsing the nationality and stuff from there. And then what it was doing, that it was checking whether it's above 18 or not. And from that circuit we were generating a zk proof. So what will happen is that you just need to pass on this proof to the to the end party, like the verifying party. They can run that and they can like basically get that, yeah, this person, whatever they are saying is correct, without actually seeing this particular document. That is like zero knowledge. Like with zero knowledge you are actually claiming that this is true. There is a very good article on this, which basically uses this find Waldo example. I think a couple of you people who would have started reading on ZK would have gone through this article. I have very limited knowledge of all of these things, but I think that's a very good example to understand what ZK implies. So what they do is, in that particular exercise, so find Waldo is basically like, sorry, I'm going off tangents right now, but I want to explain these things well. So what they do in find Waldo is, imagine that you have a very like big picture. I will actually just show you also how it looks like. You have to find this man called Waldo in this, okay? And that particular big picture that you have, it's a like it's very difficult to find Waldo. I'll just show you how it looks. 1 second. Uh, okay, I hope you can see my screen. This is a very small image that opened up, but okay. So this small image that you see, right? In this, you will be tasked with finding Waldo, which is like a specific man here, and it's like you have to now say that I have found Waldo without showing where Waldo is here. So you don't want the verifier to know where exactly Waldo is, but you still want to tell them that I have found Waldo. So how will you do it? So the way that they said that what it requires for us to do in terms of zero knowledge is, imagine you build like a very small, just take a black cardboard piece, and you make a very small square cutout in that. Okay. And you place that black cardboard piece on this so that the cutout overlaps where Waldo is. Okay. So if that happens, you are saying that, hey, look, I have found Waldo in this picture. But because the surrounding are not clear to the person because of the black cardboard, they do not know what's like next to this or here. So if now you give them the image again, they themselves would not be able to find Waldo, even though you have shown them that I have found Waldo. So this is why this is basically how the ZK proof kind of thing works, and how they come to this conclusion sort of, without actually without giving them any knowledge about where Waldo is. You have proved that you know where Waldo is. So yeah, that's basically what Kranti has mentioned. I hope this makes sense. Just let me know, folks, if this makes sense. But yeah, okay, coming back to Kranti's question, yeah, I definitely think you can build this out. I think, in fact, this would be a very good idea to build this out. In case you're very serious about building this out, Kranti, I would be happy to connect you to the like Aptos folks as well. But before that, I would highly encourage you to build out like a small POC or small MVP. If you go with that and pitch the team, I think that can be pretty good. Okay. Coming back to the other questions. Tomiva is saying, my question is, how can I get balance of connected address using 0x1 coin? Okay, and design. Okay, let me just go over the NFT contract then, because I think there are a couple of questions for that. So give me a second. Let me find that and share that. Mm, um, I think I'm not sure if this is the one that I had shared. Uh, uh, okay, no, not this one. Wait. Mm. Uh, so the main challenge with zero knowledge proof, and this is actually a very big challenge, is number one, it is expensive. Number two, at this point, it is not scalable. Number three is that you have to generate a proof every time, um, and then pass it. Uh, so, like, this was like one of the main pressing issues. One when we were trying out for the hackathon example, that we have to type proof and send it. So it's not like uh, just do it and we can just send that off. So what we ended up doing was that if the proof was generated and verified once, Let me just. I hope you both came back. I think I've lost your chat question, so maybe you can put it uh, back again. Okay, let me just share my screen for the NFT example. Mm, okay, so I just go over this once. I think there were a couple of questions. Uh, what? Mm, Okay, I'll just go over this particular example once again. In the meantime, if you folks, the other questions that you posted, I think coin.move, there were some more questions as well. If you can just put it on the chat again, that would be great. Let me just go over this. So here what we are doing is just first of all, we are just getting the .env, setting the .env config so that we can read from the .env file whatever is required from there, which can be like private key or this kind of information that is sensitive in nature. You don't want it to be exposed. Uh, Okay, just answering this. We did not use any ZKDID. We built the circuits and everything from scratch. We did not like use any existing infrastructure thing which is already like a ZKDID. We just built a ZK proof and then we just connected that. It's open source only on our GitHub. Just drop me a message post this call. I can just share that project link with you. Okay. Coming back to this. Right. So here then next statement is basically us importing all of these clients from the Aptos package. Now, I'll just share my screen. Actually, let me not share my screen. I'll just share the reference for the TypeScript SDK that you can actually check. Um, One second. So in this reference, you can actually just go ahead and search for the couple of things that are mentioned here that will bring more clarity as to what are the functions that are being called, etc. Right. So I've just shared the link for that on the chat. So we are just importing these clients from Aptos. Node URL and faucet URL is coming from this dot slash common file, which would be just like the standard node URL, faucet URL. I'd shown you one day the like what are the different this thing for devnet, for testnet, and this thing. Let me actually show you here as well once. So this dot common file contains the either it's coming from the env or by default it will take these URLs here, and then they have specified for the coin store and the fungible store. What's the thing, right? So this is where it's coming from. Now moving back, we're just importing that. So we are spinning up a new client. We're spinning up a new faucet client. We need this to basically set up the communication. Then we are setting up a token client, which takes this as the argument. Now, where is all of this coming from? This is basically the link that I just sent you. You can go to the reference. You can just check that. This will basically take the client of Aptos client data type. So that's the reason why we have set it up like this. Define a coin client. This is for the account balance stuff. Then we are just spinning up Aptos accounts, Alice and Bob account. Then just like getting the address and like these are new accounts that are being spinned up. We are just logging it. Using the faucet client, we are funding the account. This basically is one Aptos. So like in ethers, you would have seen like I think it's 10 raised to the power 18. So for that, like this is how it's basically for Aptos. You have to specify this. I think it's uh, yeah, 100 million, I think the number, but yeah, just like 10 raised to power whatever, is that is basically equivalent to one Aptos. So this is the unit that they are using over here. Um, and yeah, then they are just logging the balances. Where are they getting this check balance function and all? This is all in the SDK itself. Then they want to create a collection. So they are creating the getting the collection name, token name, version of it, and when they're trying to create it, first they are making this whole as one token ID. They're setting up all of the information here that they have collected. What will be the token data ID, the property version that is specified here. Why is all of this information important? Because when you go ahead to create the like token and stuff, you will require to like get this particular thing. So right. So next thing for them is just like a token client dot create collection. Here you are creating the collection. So you're just saving the information of the collection. And then the individual token will have its own metadata. So here they have specified this to be Alice collection name, blah blah blah, and then they are waiting for the transaction to happen. And post that, they're creating a token in that particular collection. So passing the same collection name, but now here this is replaced by the token name and the token, like the ID and the URI for this image that is happening. Then they are waiting for transaction again. How they are coming up with this set of things is just through the particular TypeScript SDK. Again, waiting for the transaction to get over, and then what they're doing is this is again a function that is defined under token client, where you can pass the address of the collection and the name of the collection. You can get the data of the collection, so you can just log and show all of that. Alice balance one takes token client dot get that particular token. So now we're getting that particular token information. What do you need for that? You need what's the collection address, you need the collection name, token property version. So through this, they are getting that token, and then they are just like doing like a logging for that. Um, Similarly, getting like more data for that token is coming through the address, collection name, token name, and then they are showing off that Alice's token data, right? So then what they're doing is they're transferring one token from Alice to Bob. So token client dot offer token. So the way this infrastructure is working here is that first you have to do an offer token, and then that token has to be claimed. So Alice is initiating this transaction, and that's why you have Alice's, then Bob's address, then Alice's address, collection name, token ID, token property version. And then Bob now can claim this particular token. So now basically Alice has sort of unlocked this token from her association, and now Bob can go ahead and claim it. So the argument will change with Bob replacing in the beginning, and then this is again all coming from the TypeScript SDK reference. You can check that, and print the balances that is there. So again they're getting like a get token, so they're getting the balance, Bob's balance for that particular this thing collection, and then they are showing off what is Alice's token balance and what is Bob's token balance. So because we just made a transfer, you can actually go ahead and check how this will look like, because if you see here, we have just created the token for Alice, which we transferred to Bob. So you can actually just do this and check how the balance is changed once we make the transfer happen. And yeah, and then they're again doing transferring back to Alice. But this was the first method that they showed, which used offer and a claim mechanism. What they have shown in this is that you can actually do a direct transfer as well, rather than doing it like that. And this is like the direct transfer token, again specifying to whom to transfer, address, collection name, token name, all of these properties that are required as arguments, waiting for the transaction to get over, and then again printing out the balances for one last time, and then you'll or get the restored equation like the first time when you do those things, you'll get the same. And in the next bit, what they are doing is that they are basically spinning up. provider getting certain information about the chain and the ledger. Through that, they are just like logging it. What is the chain ID? What is the indexer ID? Um, and after that, we are just doing like a check on the accounts NFTs and just showing that Alice's current token ownership and Bob's current token ownership. So this is the entirety of like the data that is there. Here we are not talking about a very specific collection, because as you can see here, we are just passing the address and not like a collection name or address to that. So we are just like getting like the total ownership of whatever NFTs that Alice and Bob have. So this is basically the simple NFT example. Uh, Let me actually share my screen really quickly and show you where is the. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So this token client direct transfer token. I'll just very quickly show you. So this one directly transfers a specified amount of tokens from account to receiver using a single multi-signature transaction. So this is the way that this works. Um, and if we want to check the other infrastructure that we just showed, it will be offer token. So transfer specified amount of tokens from account to receiver. As I said, like this will be like a two-part thing where you are doing this, and then there's the claim token thing here, and it claims the token on a specified account. So yeah, and this create collection and the rest of the functions, they are I think pretty basic. So you can just go through it and you can spin this up. So yeah, that's a little bit on the NFT thing. I think someone was asking around something around the balance of. Let me see. Get primary balance, I think. Give me a second. Yeah, so gets the balance of a fungible asset from the account's primary fungible store. This we did basically in our normal token example, right? Um, so you have the account, you have the asset address, and you can get the primary balance for it. If you want to see how this is actually used, let me very quickly find an example and show you. Yeah, I think this should be fine. Mm, okay, I'll just share the screen and show you. Rahul, I am not actually sure on when the round 5 of Aptos grants will start. I can check in with the team and ask. Oh, shoot, I ended up sharing the same screen. To get the Aptos balance of the connected address. Oh, that is a very normal query. What I'm showing right now is like if you define your fungible asset by, if you just want the like just the balance for the connected address, you can do it in a couple of different ways, Tomeva. Either you can run a very simple SDK query and just get the balance. Actually, let me just share the reference then. I don't think I need to show the contract for this. 1 second. Um, yeah, so this is for the fungible asset, like that if you create your own listing. If that is not the case, you can just very simply uh, do this particular thing. So see, this is the check balance function, which is on the coin client. It gets the balance of the account, and by default, it checks the balance of the Aptos coin. So you can just do the SDK and you can just call this particular function over a coin client. Coin client is basically this. So you just saw how we defined our token client, right? So you can create a coin client by doing this passing, where it should be something like new coin client bracket client, where client is basically the new Aptos client from the first line. And then in this, you can just run the check balance function where you just pass your account address and you'll get the this thing. Another way of doing this can be using the indexer that we just saw in the last class. So there you can basically also run a query passing your account address, and in the like query you can define that I want the balance. You can get other account information as well. So the way that it would look like would be, one second, let me pull up the indexer. Where is it? Okay, let me stop sharing this and let me show you about it. Okay, so here, yeah, we can just do a coin balances like this, or an account transactions. I am not 100% sure which one will give us the information because I haven't checked it up. Yeah, I think basically something along these lines should work, where you can just specify which coin you're talking about, what's the owner address, what's the transaction version. If I remove this and just run this, let's just see. Alright, let me, where, yeah, you can do something like where coin type equals some Aptos this thing. You can just put where owner address equals. Uh, do I have a sample account that I can just copy paste and show? One second. Create. Let me go to the Explorer and just get some random account. Mm, okay, okay. Just try. Let's run this. Okay, so here you can see how we can just get this from the indexer. So we have specified this to be this particular account, uh, and here then we are getting these this particular information from it on the coin balances that are there. So yeah, you can also use the indexer and get this as well. Cool. So I think that should answer your query. Okay. Now, what other question do we have? Thanks, Ram, for sending that address. Abhishek is asking, is there any limitation in Aptos like solidity? For example, loops should be avoided, large strings will cause high gas, etc. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think that is standard across any smart contract stuff that you're running because it's computation. Any line that you're adding is more computation. So always think of an optimized solution in that sense, something that will occupy less space and time. Uh, from that point of view, yes, there is like at the end of the day, I would just say follow good coding practices. Anything that can be optimized, optimize it. Uh, and I would recommend everyone to like learn basic data structures, learn basic stuff around how optimizations can be thought of. For example, If you see with a lot of operations that happen in Solidity, Merkle trees are used a lot because they help a lot in terms of time complexity of finding elements, such as if you have an allow list or something, you would want to put them in a Merkle list and then run like a compute over it, whether a particular address exists in an allow list or not, instead of doing like a check in a complete array or something. If you use a Merkle list, which sort of hashes back to a root value, you can check very easily, like I think logarithmic time rather than doing like a complete O of n or something, right? So I think those limitations are always there in case. I do not know if they have any specific documentation which talks about writing cleaner code. Let me search. Okay, yeah, they have mentioned certain optimization principles. Uh, so I'm just sending this to you. It doesn't say anything about what kind of principles like you need to follow from a coding standpoint. It just talks about how much does every computation cost, anything that you're doing on the network, how much does it cost. So it just talks about that. So what you can end up doing is optimize for what costs less, and that's essentially. I'll actually just share the screen and show this to other folks as well. So, for example, they have mentioned optimization principles, minimum price per gas unit, maximum price, storage gas. So, what is the like read, create, write operations? How much does it cost? And reading costs this much, right? Creating costs this much, writing costs this much. Uh, so you can like think about things in that manner. So here they have mentioned most expensive per item operation by far is creating a new item by move to or adding to a table, which costs nearly 17 times as much as reading or overwriting an old item. So, what can be one takeaway that you can take from this? That not like overwrite an old item instead of maybe deleting it and creating a new one, something like that, right? Because the update operation costs less, right? So. Uh, we have written certain things that you can do over here. Minimize per item creations, track unused items and override them rather than creating new items when possible. I think this is a very good thing that I think when we're talking about any sort of garbage collection and stuff, this is also very important to think of things from this perspective. Contain per item rights to few items as possible, and read rather than write whenever possible. Minimize the number of bytes in all operations. So again, couple of more stuff that they have specified. These are like that operations that we do from our APIs. So um, anytime they're doing everything, like this is actually how things should be when we are doing. I feel like most of us, we code and we like coding, but and this is true for like a lot of developers I have met, including me, that we do not do things like this. We do not do calculations around what we are doing and how much it costs. But essentially, we need to do things like this, especially when we're talking about smart contract development. Um, versus like spinning up like a React server and doing something, right? So these things are very important because we with smart contract security and gas optimization is key. And we are talking not from a perspective of centralized server where the read write things are not like very easy to think about, but here we are talking about a blockchain, and we need to think quite differently in that manner. So yeah, this is one thing that we need to think of. Yeah, I think this document should be good to study, but essentially it will all come down to the same thing, that practice the principles that you learn with data structures. Uh, okay. Any other questions that I have missed that you folks want me to take up? Feel free to uh, ask. List some node providers for Aptos. I think, as far as my understanding, the Aptos lab manages a lot of the RPC stuff right now for Aptos. Let me check if there are other managers as well. I can see Anchor. Yep. Chain Stack, Anchor. I think Zeev. Yep. Mostly these are the ones I see. So you can just go ahead and spin up uh, nodes if you want to with them. Quick node. Yeah, like standard folks. Any other questions? Also, folks, I have a request to make for anyone who has joined class. I don't know if you have checked out us or not yet, but would really appreciate if you folks can create your account on Social 3. Once you do, feel free to drop me your Social 3 handles as well on my TG. Um, yeah, I would be very happy if you can check us out. If there are any opportunities that you like amongst the verified jobs here, feel free to reach me out. If your profile matches, I would be happy to make connections with the recruiters and help with like getting you placed. So yeah. Is there any Aptos community out there? Yeah, I think there are like on the Aptos developer, like the Discord servers, they have developer channels which you can join and talk to. I think there are like region specific communities. Aptos will be coming up with a very developer focused community in India, is what I hear from their plans. So yeah, that is the case. But for now, what you can do is you can just join the Discord and join the developer community out there. There is also like some DAOs that work exclusively in the move space, so you can check them out as well. But that being said, I will say that the Aptos developer community is right now kind of small and not like something, because a lot of things are like starting to get built out, right? Which is again also one of the reasons why I would recommend everyone to join now and be like an early contributor to whatever is being built. um, because as Rahul also asked around like grants and stuff, so uh, you can, you folks have the like the skill set of being developers. You can write good code and you can build out new products or protocols on Aptos. So I would encourage you folks to like try thinking along those lines of what can be productized in Aptos, which is not currently there, which you see in other ecosystems, which can be brought over here and created on Aptos. The challenge with Aptos being because it's Movelang, it is comparatively harder to kind of get into it, but that's the reason why also the community is kind of smaller right now. But would encourage you to like see how you can get started in this. Another thing I would ask you folks to do is to check out the Aptos hack. So let me see if I can uh, share like the page for this. So Aptos team organizes hackathons across the globe. What you can do is, and this is an interesting thing, just check out whatever events have happened, all of these hackathons. Find out what are the projects that built over here, what did they build, who won the top prizes and stuff. You can take some time and analyze this and see which direction everyone is thinking of and building. That can be quite important and like interesting for you folks to look into. They also have this forum. I will share this. This is also for developer folks. You can find a lot of people asking a lot of developer related questions and sharing their projects in this forum. So you can go and check this out as well. Okay. But yeah, would coming back to the social viewpoint, would really appreciate if you folks get on the platform. If you have liked what we have done, what I have done at least in the teaching part of things, would really appreciate it if you can go on the platform, create your account, and check out the platform. Yep, that's about it. Any other questions? Let me see if I can actually show you a couple of projects or stuff that folks have built out. Uh, I'll just wait for a few minutes. If there are any more questions, you folks can ask. Otherwise, we'll just wrap this up. So, someone has written about what they have built here in the hack. Someone has built an intellectual property IP exchange protocol. So anytime like an IP is being used in this as a reference, the original creator gets paid for that. Uh, and this is built on like using AI as well. Let me actually send the link to you. You can actually go through it. I think, yeah, what you can also do is reach out to this person, whoever has written this, ask them how did they build it, and this is also the way you can find out people who are already building on Aptos and start thinking of participating in hackathons with them, like whatever next ones are happening. So, yep. Okay, I'll wait for a minute. If there are no other questions, we'll wrap this up. Okay, cool. Looks like there are no other questions. So yeah, let's wrap up this call. Let's meet again on Wednesday, preferably with some ideas already shared with me. And if that's the case, then we can go ahead with creating some baseline implementations for those ideas, and then you can add your own ideas on top of it, and then think about the protocols and other things as well that we discussed. I see a lot of people are posting on Twitter on their activities. I believe that is really good. Keep doing those things, not from perspective of us getting tagged or something, but from a perspective of building your own proof of work, because now people can identify you as someone who is part of the Aptos Fellowship and has worked on Moveland, which means that and by the way, just putting it out there, we'll be onboarding the Aptos ecosystem and all of their companies very soon on Social 3, like all of the jobs or like of all of the Aptos labs as well as the Aptos ecosystem projects. So if you can work on your move skills and all, because there are not a lot of developers who already work in the move domain, you would definitely be like one of the top applicants for these roles. So I would highly encourage you to start thinking in those directions as well, and essentially to build out a post this program, like success stories for all of you people who are part of this program, how we can think along those lines. So yeah, definitely think about that and see how we can collaborate. So that's it for this class. Thank you everyone. Take care. Bye.